All right, Eamon, thank you very much. Justice Hill, the freshman from Tulsa, with the call on second down. And he picks up 5. And Ishroff, Ahmad Brooks, Don Davenport down on the field. Oklahoma State 3-2. Arguably 2 plays away from being 5-0. Iowa State 1-4. The Cyclones, though, nearly upset Baylor just last week. Iowa State drove to midfield on its first possession before punting it away. On 3rd and 1, it's Hill once again, and he's turned back. A big hold by the Cyclone defense, and 3 and out. Go the Cowboys.
That was just a great individual effort from Damon Tucker. You see him in the middle of the field taking on the center. Great pushback, but it was also the ability to locate the ball quickly and flatten out along the line of scrimmage. Great individual effort from Damon Tucker as he was taking on the center for Oklahoma State, Brad Lundblade.
Trevor Ryan back deep to receive for Iowa State, leading the nation in punt return average, 22 yards per return. Zach Steiner sends Ryan away back, and the fair catch is made at the 26-yard line. Second possession for Iowa State when we come back. For those of you who just watched TCU survive against Kansas, welcome to Stillwater. Scoreless in the first quarter, second drive for Iowa State. And what gives the Cyclones a chance? 3 pretty good players on offense.
Yeah, you saw the wide receiver, Alan Lazard. Here you see Lanning doing what I think he should be able to do today, which is run the football. And when they can't work with the quarterback design run game, hand it off to number 2, Mike Warren. A special player indeed, a running back that has an array of talent, and in many ways he can beat you.
Lanning pumps, he'll chuck it downfield, and too far in front of Dondre Daly, 2nd and 10.
Second time today we've seen Lanning be a little bit long throwing to Daly. And that time there, he just had a simple wheel route. It looked like the coverage was underneath it. Certainly had some space over the top, but couldn't hit his mark.
Receiver look here on 2nd and 10. Lanning over the middle, and that is dropped by the usually sure-handed Alan Lazard. Keys when Iowa State has the football, Ahmad.
Yeah, establish the quarterback rushing attack. You see him there, Lanning. He can beat you with his arm, but the more pressure he puts on this defense with his feet, the harder it will be for them to defend him. And if you're Oklahoma State, keep doing what you're doing. One of the best teams in the country at creating takeaways, but I suggest they do it early to shut down any momentum this Iowa State offense may get.
Warren split wide on 3rd and 10. Here's the blitz off the edge. Lanning over the middle. He's got Lazard, and Alan Lazard with a first down at the 38. That's the go-to guy.
Yeah, but that was excellent protection. It started up front. Number 61, Brian Bobet. Great job of picking up an outside blitzer. He actually came from the center position, which allowed Lanning the comfortable pocket to make that throw down to his top target, Alan Lazard.
Out of the pistol. There's a screen to Trevor Ryan across the 40 and out of bounds at the 44. Give him 5. 2nd and 5 for Iowa State.
Very similar rhythm already for this offense as we saw in the first series. Short throws, continue to feed the running back with the running game and take your shots downfield when you can. I like the pace that they're working and operating under right now.
Lanning has it under pressure. He'll run. And he's a guy who feeds off of contact. That's what Matt Campbell and his offensive coordinator, Tom Manning, told us. Lost a yard there, but he's not afraid to take a hit.
Yeah, and there's that fine line. You know, you want him to be here every week and to be healthy. But like the coaches said this week, it is in his DNA to try to run through people and to show how physically tough he is. And he's done it all season long, and he's still standing upright.
High school wrestler in Iowa. Near sideline, that's caught. And a first down by Daly, who's been an early target, a gain of 8.
That was a great conversion.
So Iowa State, for the second consecutive drive, has reached midfield. Lazard this time lined up in the slot. Lanning throws it back to Deshaunte Jones. He thought about a throw. Now he'll run, has the edge, a first down and more.
Oh, man, they had the play set up. It was supposed to be a quarterback pass, but if you'll see it at the top of the field, the contact that happened, the route was disrupted, which forced Jones to have to run the football. That was a great decision despite not being a quarterback.
The give is to the freshman from Cincinnati, David Montgomery, who ran into his own man. There is a flag on the player, first penalty. And to go back to Deshaunte Jones, you're talking about a dual threat quarterback in high school.
Well, he looked like one there. That was a sharp decision.
Brandon Cruz is our referee.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 40. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's Devontae Everett, a former amateur boxer as a youth.
Yeah, you see that contact right there, the face mask. You know, despite, sometimes it's incidental, but the one thing you've got to do as a defender, you've got to make sure that your hand placement is in the right location. If not, those types of penalties can kill you.
Red zone opportunity for Iowa State. Arms in motion. And movement along that right side.
False start, offense, number 32. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Now they'll call that on the running back, Montgomery. Iowa State has used a few permutations on the offensive line early in the season. They feel that unit is settled, and it's a big reason why they've put up 40 points in consecutive games for the first time in more than a decade. Lanning pumps over the middle, and it's knocked away, incomplete. Trey Flowers, the strong safety, got his paw on it.
Great defense in the back end.
Matt Campbell, the youngest Power 5 head coach, and experience-wise, he lost his top offensive lineman, Jake Campos, before the season started. Not a lot of experience up front. Montgomery stiff arms his way and then spins to the 15-yard line, brought down again by Flowers, and it'll bring up 3rd and 9. Iowa State has scored on every red zone possession this season.
You've got a 3rd and long situation here, and we haven't seen it, and part of it is because of the way they're rolling coverage, but these are the perfect opportunities to get number 5, Alan Lazard, involved in the ball game. At 6'5", he is a terror down here in the red zone.
Montgomery and Ryan in the backfield. And Iowa State will call a timeout with the play clock running down.
He didn't like the look.
First charge timeout. Iowa State.
Will step aside as well. 3rd and 9 in the red zone for the Cyclones.
Brandon Fitzgerald with a studio update from the ACC. Pittsburgh scored a game-tying touchdown with less than 4 minutes left. And on the final play of the game, Chris Blewett making things interesting. The ricochet off the upright and through. Pittsburgh wins on the last play of the game. Anish, back to you.
Brendan, thank you. The ACC much better this year from top to bottom than in years past. Iowa State facing a 3rd and 9 in the red zone. They are perfect this season. They've scored on every possession. 14 times they've been in, 11 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Oklahoma State has been one of the best red zone defenses in the country.
Yeah, and Iowa State, 8 touchdowns in the last 8 red zone trips. So, you know, they're looking to punch this one in. They do not want to settle for field goals.
Lazard lined up in the slot, Montgomery in the backfield. They've seen a lot of Montgomery on this drive. That's Ryan now in motion. Lanning under pressure, and he's taken down. Willie Leveni with the sack, and it's 4th down. Big play by that Oak State defensive line.
Yeah, just great pursuit, you know, and you've got to give credit to the secondary. There was nowhere to throw downfield, and Lanning, you know, doing his best impression of trying to wiggle through there, but it just didn't work. The pursuit caught up to him in the nick of time.
So a 35-yarder for Cole Netton. He's made 12 straight field goals dating back to last year. And this one is good. Iowa State on the board first on the road in Stillwater.
Yeah, one more look at this Oklahoma State defense coming up big inside of the red zone on 3rd down, pursuing Lanning from every direction. Indeed.
ESPNU College Football is brought to you by the classic double cheeseburger for just $2.49, only at Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
That young man is making us look bad. I got to cheat. I need 2 hands. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, you're not cowboy tough.
No,
though.
I'm not. I'm from New Jersey. Urban cowboy.
Oh, I get it, big guy.
Iowa State to kick off after a 35-yard field goal by Cole Netton, and it's Chris Francis to kick it off. Jeff Carr is back deep along with Barry J. Sanders. And yes, that is the son of the great Barry Sanders. Let's go downstairs and check in with Dawn Davenport.
Well, Anish, this coaching staff said they feel like they have something special in running back Justice Hill, but they were adamant that they can't put too much on the true freshman that will hinder their progress or wear them out. Hill had 25 of the team's 43 carries last week. He's already had 3 in that first possession today. Coach Gundy told me 25 carries is just too many. So in order to manage his progression and growth and keep him healthy, guys, they look to increase the running back rotation today. We haven't seen it yet, but the coaches speak pretty highly of their seniors, Rennie Childs and Barry J. Sanders.
All right, Dawn, we'll see how they manage Hill's workload. But he has brought back a rushing attack here in Stillwater that was dormant for a few years. Hill gets the carry, does not get very far, a gain of a yard. 2nd and 9. So far, 4 play calls for Oklahoma State, 4 rushes, 0 passes. Going tempo, first pass of the game, Rudolph, and that's too high, intended for James Washington. Good to see Washington in the lineup. He left that Texas game last week after a hit to the head in the 3rd quarter.
You know, and in speaking to Gundy earlier this week, he said it. He said, our team goes as our quarterback goes. Our quarterback can't play below average. And so when you've got these 3rd and long situations, quarterbacks are judged on how they perform in critical situations like this. No doubt about it, Rudolph will have the ball in his hands looking for a target.
Iowa State showing blitz. Here it comes. Rudolph downfield. He wants Washington, who makes the catch.
Just excellent body control to be able to contort his body and control his body as he twists and turns, gets his feet in bounds. 1st down for the Cowboys.
Referee waiting until everybody's set. Oklahoma State going quickly. Rennie Childs across midfield into Cyclone territory for a gain of 6.
Childs, also a very elusive back, and he's got a ton of experience, and you saw him there with his first carry of the day. Very productive.
Play action. Plenty of time. Rudolph down the seam. Incomplete. He wanted Jalen McCleskey, who had a 100-yard game and a couple of scores against Texas last week.
Oh, he missed a big one. He missed an explosive play, and he'll want this one back. McCleskey, pardon me, had the step on the defensive back. If he'd have just laid it out more towards the sideline and let him run under it, that would have been money.
Two tight ends here on third down, or as they call them in Stillwater, cowboy backs. That's Veach and Jarwin, both flanking the hips of Rudolph. Veach in motion. This is Justice Hill straight up the middle, and he's got just enough for a first down, tackled by Willie Harvey.
Oh man, great push from the offensive line. He didn't even get touched until he was right at the first down marker.
Turbo offense on the delay. It's Hill again. And he picks up 6 more, 2nd and 4.
Well, you can see the tempo here now. I mean, this is what they call turbo, and it is moving at a very high rate.
2 receivers stacked to each side. Rudolph, play action. Too high for Veach. Ahmad, what are the keys when Oklahoma State has the football?
Well, they've got to stretch the field vertically and horizontally, thin out that box so they can get into their run game. And if you're Iowa State, eliminate the big plays. Keep everything in front of you, wrap up, tackle, and do not let Oklahoma State hit you with the big one.
Barry J. Sanders into the game, graduate transfer from Stanford, and son of the former Heisman winner here at Oak State. Rudolph takes a hit, has an open receiver. This is Seals on his feet. Touchdown, Cowboys.
You just saw the toughness there from Mason Rudolph. He saw the blitz coming, knew he was going to have to take a hit, and put the ball on the money to Seals, and Seals with the great run after catch. Made a few people miss and got strong there right inside the 10 to get into pay dirt.
Extra point by Ben Grogan. It is good, and with that, Grogan 9 points away from the all-time scoring record.
Just sitting tall and big in the pocket. Seals here thought they had him. What a nifty move and nimble move. Let's see it again. Now that is sweet, and it's also 6 points.
Trevor Ryan looking on for Iowa State. He had a chance for a touchdown catch, and my partner Ahmad Brooks still can't believe he went up with one hand.
I'm just shocked, you know, and according to Don Davenport on the sideline, it seemed as though his teammates were lifting him up, but I expect one of the senior leaders to come to him and just say, hey, bud, we've got to have that play. You hope the game doesn't come down to a 3 or 4 point swing, because he'll never forget that play.
First play of the second quarter, a run, and Justice Hill tripped up shy of the 30 by Brian Mills, a gain of 3.
That was a glimpse of his explosive nature and abilities. You know, had he not gotten tripped up there at the end of that run, that might have been a house call. But I mean, this kid has the stop and go, the wiggle, the lateral movement, all the things you need to be successful at this level as a running back.
Freak athlete too, 38.5-inch vertical.
Jeez.
Rennie Childs into the game on third down. Rudolph's pass incomplete. Washington nearly came away with it with Brian Peavy draped all over him. You talk about a freak athlete, Washington.
And the DB here just mistimes his jump, and wow.
He almost had that.
Washington. That is a very athletic move. We've already seen him contort his body once today and catch one on the sideline. He almost hauled that one in as well. What can you say about this Iowa State defense and offense? This team looks completely different if you followed and watched Iowa State throughout the years.
High snap, Zach Seiner's kick hits somebody, and it rolls out of bounds near the 35-yard line. We'll step away with 14:15 to go in the first half.
ESPNU College Football is brought to you by Old Spice. Smell 'em who's boss.
The Wrestling Hall of Fame is in Stillwater, and Oklahoma State has its own Hall of Fame. Their head coach for the wrestling program, John Smith, a legend in the sport, and we're going to see him a little later on. He and Ahmad Brooks did a little demonstration yesterday.
Yeah, too much to your liking, too.
We should have done more takes, but he demonstrated on Ahmad some of the similarities when it comes to tackling that translate in wrestling and football.
Very profound and thoughtful.
Jacob Park stays into the game at quarterback for Iowa State, second series. Fakes to Ryan, down the field, wide open, Daly. He's got the 20, inside the 10, and Dondre Daly finally taken down by Ramon Richards at about the 5-yard line, a gain of 57.
These RPOs, run pass options, they are so difficult to stop, and the execution there on the Cyclones' part was down to perfection.
Montgomery up the middle, and he's to the 1. Second and goal. Cyclones looking to go quick.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him put it right back on the ground here and hand off to their running back.
Low snap, Montgomery spins and is turned back for a loss.
That was Park there.
Oh, that was Park, pardon me.
Hey, you watch it here. Zone read option. I think it was the right decision to pull there. Just couldn't keep his footing there, and now you've got a third and short situation. And believe it or not, these are some of the hardest situations to score in because the field has shrink down. You've got that back line as an extra defender. Let's see what the Cyclones can do here. Lazard in the slot.
That's Daly in motion. Park rolls to his right. On the run, Lazard. Touchdown, Iowa State.
It was just a matter of time with this young man. 6'5", 223 pounds, is a top NFL prospect in my eyes. You get Park on the move. He's very effective doing that. Great effort here on the part. Looks like he got in there cleanly. Lazard with a big touchdown for the Cyclones.
Third receiving touchdown of the season for Alan Lazard. And he is a complete wide receiver. He'll do the little things as well.
He can block. You know, as big as he is, he's the size of a tight end. Has incredible leaping ability. That time there showing how reliable he can be as a pass catcher.
Oklahoma State blocked 3 PATs last week, but not that one. The Cyclones back on top. It's Jacob Park to Alan Lazard. Stay with us. We're going to see John Smith body slam Ahmad Brooks to the ground. There's context. We'll fill you in on that after the break. (10-7) Iowa State after an Alan Lazard touchdown reception. Time now for Inside Access, brought to you by AT&T. Here's Ahmad.
Here with legendary coach and wrestler John Smith. And coach, there are a lot of football players with a wrestling background. How does being on the mat translate to the football field?
Well, you know, what's similar is they move their hands, they got to move their feet, they change levels. You know, if we broke down here, you know, you learn to move here. You learn to pull, you know, you learn to push, you know, to come in here and learn to tackle right here. So there's a lot of similarities, and that's one.
Coach, I tell you what, that was awesome. We appreciate you for your demonstration and also keeping it easy on me.
Inside Access brought to you by AT&T. John Smith doing what everybody on our broadcast crew has wanted to do for weeks.
Yeah, you found way too much excitement in that segment, buddy. You know, that was probably that was the biggest rush I've had in a long time. And, you know, it was awesome to be in his presence because, you know, obviously he had individual success, but the program that he's also built here, the #1 wrestling team in the country. And, you know, then we went a little bit further into some of the tackling that can be learned on the mat. And I thought it was very interesting when he talked about changing your levels. And, in fact, there are some teams that actually fly in, rugby teams, that want to get lessons on tackling from John Smith. It was a joy to be around and one of the better times that I've had on the road this year.
Unfortunately, we only did 2 takes. I was hoping for 6 or 7.
I know you were.
10-7 Iowa State. Number 25. Rudolph is sacked. Justin Thomas got him for a loss. Notable football players with wrestling experience, and that is a pretty good list.
The first time I saw this, it was awesome. The only 2-time Heisman winner in archery, Griffin. My favorite defensive player of all time, Ray Lewis. And, wow, I mean, that's an impressive list for sure.
You imagine Ogden and Sapp on the mat?
That would be fun to watch.
Chris Lacey, outside the numbers, makes the catch. He's about 3 yards shy of the first down, and it's 3rd down for the Cowboys.
A big 3rd down here, but it's 3rd and short, so you still have the option here to run the football, get into your quick passing game, but also an opportunity to dupe the defenders and get into your double moves on the outside edges. And it looks like Iowa State is high safety, which means that there are some opportunities on the edges to win those matchups.
Rudolph to the air, high throw. Washington brings it down. We told you he's a great athlete. This was a kid who in high school as a junior picked up a tennis racket and went on to the state finals.
Oh, how did he catch that? I mean, that ball was over his head. That was an amazing catch.
Going quickly off the first down, little screen pass. And the catch is made at midfield by Hill, tackled by Willie Harvey.
Yeah, let's have one more look at this catch. And, you know, you're taught to catch the ball out in front of your face. He catches this over his head and still managed to keep his balance with 2 hands. It just goes to show you the type of athlete that Mr. Washington is. This guy has NFL written all over him.
Iowa State getting its personnel onto the field in time. Oklahoma State wanted to go quicker. Here's the give to Barry J. Sanders, and no running room. He lost a yard. 3rd down for Oklahoma State. Sanders came to Stillwater to follow in his father's footsteps after spending time at Stanford, backing up Christian McCaffrey. And he's down on the depth chart a little bit, but the coaches praise what he's meant in the locker room and what he's done for the other running backs as a leader.
He's unselfish. You know, he's wedged in behind Hill and obviously Childs, but that doesn't change him in terms of his leadership skills, still contributing to those younger guys.
Rudolph pumps, plenty of time. And that throw got away from him. I'm not sure if that didn't slip out of his hand. 4th down.
It appeared as though he thought that the wide receiver was running a comeback route. He threw it behind him, and wide receiver was a little bit deeper than he would have anticipated. But once again, Iowa State's defense coming out here and managing to continue to go blow for blow with this Oklahoma State offense that has, you know, skilled players that can take it the distance, and they can score points.
That's been the biggest surprise of this game so far.
I agree.
How well Iowa State has played on defense. They gave up 469 rush yards last week.
You're right.
Ryan lets this one bounce. It takes a Cowboy bounce, and it'll be down at the 10 after a 41-yard punt by Siner. We check in with Brendan. It's a 2-quarterback system for Iowa State, but Jacob Park staying in for his 3rd series, and Matt Campbell has shown if one of the quarterbacks gets hot, he'll ride that hot hand as long as he can.
Yeah, Lanning missed a couple early throws, and Park has come in, and he's been very sharp.
At the 10-yard line, Warren looking for room at the outside, and not much there. He lost yardage. Chad Whitener with the stop. He's going to have to be big for Oklahoma State today.
Yeah, I really like him too. And, you know, this is the guy, he's like the glue for this defense. And what he means to this defense is very important. And he's the one that gets you lined up. I mean, he's the young man that has a lot of experience, can tell some of the younger players what to expect. That time there, great pursuit and a great job of finishing the play.
Empty set here on 2nd and long. There's the blitz. Park gets rid of it. The throw behind Lazard. And now 3rd and long, deep in your own zone for Iowa State.
Oklahoma State substituting here, bringing in some fresh bodies. 3rd and long situations, as you talked about for Park. They've had some success today on the edges, in particular with their one-on-one matchups. This time here, you see it. 2 top field safeties, which is going to prevent them from being able to blow off the top of the coverage. Look for them to maybe work underneath because of the safeties and a 2-look shell.
Warren split wide. Edge pressure. Park doesn't see it, gets away. Throws on the run. That's caught by Epps at the 22, and it's good enough to move the chains. How about that?
Oh, man. Great recognition on the part of Park, but if you're Oklahoma State defense, you've got to connect here. 36 coming off of the edge there, just completely misses the pressure. And Park doing a fine job. That was Moncrief who missed the sack in the end zone for a safety. Iowa State with a 1st down and back on the ball.
Warren in the backfield. And he'll get the call on 1st down. Runs into a phalanx of black and orange, a gain of 2. Oklahoma State's defensive coordinator Glenn Spencer told us, against an offense that shows you so many exotic looks, keep it simple, and first and foremost, make sure you're lined up.
He's absolutely right. Communication, you know, it's just basics. You can't even start to play defense unless you're lined up right and you know your assignment.
Park gets away from 2 defenders, uses the stiff arm, now reverses field, and he's taken down at the 28-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down. That looked like disaster again, and he was able to salvage the play.
Yeah, it looked like Houdini in the pocket. How in the world did he escape pressure there? Look at this. I mean, this is just good footwork. Manages to stay strong in the pocket, elusive, puts a stiff arm on. Now, one thing he doesn't want to do is try to peel back and run into those defensive tackles that are chasing down the ball. Those linebackers, stay outside and protect yourself, Park. But a good job there of making a 3rd and short situation here, something that is certainly manageable.
Jones goes in motion. And it looks like we've got a delay of game.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Those are backbreakers. You go from 3rd and 4 to now 3rd and 9, and Oklahoma State able to get into its pass defense personnel.
Yeah, you stub your toe. Ouch. You know, you go from a 3rd and short situation, and now I guarantee the play call has changed. We've already seen them line up differently because you've got plays set for your 3rd and short situations and 3rd and long. Now Park trying to bail his team out of another 3rd down situation on this drive.
6 defensive backs into the game for the Cowboys. The dime package. Rushing 3. Park trying to buy time, throws downfield into coverage, and it's intercepted. The Auburn transfer, Derek Moncrief, comes away with it. The first turnover of the game, and the Cowboys get the ball back.
That wasn't the best decision that Park has made all day today. He had Epps on a crossing route, but he just didn't see him and went to Ryan in double coverage. Great job there from the Cowboys, being in the right location and finishing the play, now getting their offense back out on the field.
Let's check in with Dawn Davenport.
Guys, that defense needed that. Something to point out, for the second straight week, defensive coordinator Glenn Spencer is in the booth. He's the emotional guy. Usually provides a spark for this defense down here on the sidelines. I think they were missing it, too. You know, he worried a little bit about who could fill that void. Well, before that, there was nobody filling that void. It was very quiet on the sideline.
As Spencer told us, he liked being up in the booth, the ability to sort of have that bird's eye view of everything.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier for him to identify personnel coming on and off the field.
Nice block there by Jarwin to spring Hill free for a few more yards. And a gain of 9 by the freshman.
Yeah, it's rare that you watch film and see Hill fall backwards. And one of the things that you love about any back is the fact that they can fall forward. And you saw it there, just carrying defenders on his back for a good pickup on first down.
Rudolph pumps underneath. That's a first down into Cyclone territory. Justice Hill out of the backfield. His second catch of the game.
Great adjustment there from Rudolph. You saw him audible to play at the line of scrimmage, move Hill over, which allowed him to be able to get into that route.
Play action. Rudolph downfield. Caught by Washington. Well, you exhaust all the superlatives in the book when you talk about 28 and black.
Yeah, sometimes you do everything right and you just get beat by a better player. And that's exactly what happened here. Great coverage by Wiltz as the Cowboys back on the ball.
This is Turbo for Oklahoma State. Touchdown, Justice Hill.
Very impressive drive for the Cowboys. And I got to go back to that catch from Washington. We've seen him today catch the ball with his hands. This young man has great ball skills. And I tell you what, you go back, you get a big play like that. We all know that they go into turbo after a big play because it gets the defense on their heels. Then you hand it off to your outstanding freshman running back, Hill, to finish it off. That was a great series for the Cowboys.
PAT is good by Grogan. Justice Hill finished the drive, but this was the big play. James Washington over Jamal Wiltz. On the very next play with the foot on the gas, it's Hill for 6. A Justice Hill touchdown has given Oklahoma State a 14-10 lead. James Washington with another spectacular catch on that last Cowboy drive. Washington, the top wide receiver for Oklahoma State. He had a game last month against Pittsburgh. 9 catches for 296 yards. You can't do that on Madden in rookie mode.
You know, what I've been impressed with is, yesterday I asked the coaches, I said, hey, what route does this kid run well? And he said he named every route known to man. And, you know, and it just goes to show you today that this young man is an impressive talent.
Time for our Buick Drive recap. And it started with Justice Hill. It ended with Justice Hill. This is the first run by Hill. Got a nice block there by 47 Jarwin. And the man in the middle was James Washington. Here's the catch one more time.
Beautifully thrown ball, excellent catch. And then Hill finishing it off, the young freshman. Seeming like he's starting to find his rhythm. Special talent indeed, but Hill and James Washington, 2 of the league's best exciting players to watch.
And Joel Lanning comes back into the game for Iowa State at quarterback, Ahmad. We saw a lot of Jacob Park, but it's Lanning back into the game with his team down 14-10. Low snap. Lanning to the air. Pumps. Looking for Lazard. And he was well covered. Incomplete. Time for another studio update. Here's Brendan.
Coming up at halftime, Kevin Carter, Charles Arbuckle join me to help break down the first half. Oklahoma wins the Red River rivalry. What does it mean for Charlie Strong's job status? And for the first time this season, a top 10 showdown in the SEC. The update from Tennessee and Texas A&M. Anish, back to you.
All right, thank you, Brendan. We look forward to that. I'm going to get to Charlie Strong in just a second here. This is landing on the quarterback keeper. Hasn't done too much of that today. To the 29. What does Texas's loss today to Oklahoma mean for Charlie Strong, Ahmad?
I don't, it's hard to say it's a setback because the program has underachieved the last 2 years. For Texas fans, that's a big game. And so if you're Charlie Strong, you've got Iowa State next week, and you'll be licking your wounds. Now you're starting to wonder, is this team, has it lost its confidence after starting off so hot versus Notre Dame?
6 DBs here on third down. Epps in motion. Edge pressure. Lanning down the sideline, incomplete, and there is a flag. It looked like Pipkins grabbed Daly as he was streaking down the field.
Some people may have a problem with this. If you feel like you're about to give up a big play in college, this is what you're taught to do. It's very different where you get a spot at the foul in the NFL. In college, I'll take that all day long before giving up a big play and being able to, come back and allow your defense to be able to still play defense.
Pass interference, defense, number 4, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Right there, you can see he grabs Daly.
I don't think it would have mattered. Lanning today, has overthrown several wide receivers, and that time there, I'm not even sure if that ball would have been catchable. So, but it's tough. You don't know where the ball's at. You've got to make a decision within a split second, and that time there, he made the decision that he thought was right.
Lanning rolling to his right under pressure, and he finds Trevor Ryan, and Ryan able to pick up a first down into Cowboy territory.
Yeah, when studying film, the one thing that stands out about Lanning is his outstanding mobility, but it also getting on the move and the ability to be able to move outside the pocket, have the option to run the football if everything breaks down, has been a positive for this Iowa State offense.
That's Epps. And he's taken down inside the 35. Another first down. Epps had a big game last week. 3 catches, 60 yards. And his first career touchdown. Quarterback comparison so far for Iowa State. Cyclones going quickly. Lanning under pressure. And he is dropped for a loss back at the 35-yard line.
Those are some of the decisions for Lanning that the more he matures, I think the easier it'll be for him to understand here. Hey, throw the ball away. You don't always have to play hero ball and try to break a big one with your feet. Make the smart decision, get back on the ball. Do not get behind the chains or take negative plays. And that's one of the challenges you have when you've got a guy like Lanning.
This is Jones on 2nd and long. Former high school quarterback. He'll run it. Breaks a tackle across the 30, and he sidesteps out of bounds. And we've got a late hit coming on Oklahoma State.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, defense, number 19, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
That was Justin Phillips with the late hit, but you talked about Deshaunte Jones being a former high school quarterback. Twice today I've seen him make excellent decisions. Bring the ball down, give your team an opportunity to come back and fight. Clearly a late hit there and unnecessary. But Jones, I tell you what, I've been impressed with him, and you can tell now he's their gadget guy. He's a guy they like to put the ball in their hands and give multiple options with.
Only a freshman. He's a building block for Matt Campbell. Lanning fade, end zone, incomplete. Through the hands of Lazard, covered by Richards.
That was great coverage there, but Lazard, these are plays he typically makes, and partly just because his size, the size difference. Richards is 5'11". Lazard is 6'5". This has to be a ball that he wins. Now, some contact there on the jersey.
Was that a flag?
It was definitely pass interference, but sometimes you get away with that. Lazard, though, with the big frame still, in my opinion, should have hauled that in.
He's been targeted 8 times today, Lazard has, 3 catches. Montgomery, nice cutback inside the 5 to the 4, and it's 3rd and 1 for Iowa State.
Yeah, great rhythm, and in these types of situations along the goal line, they like zone read and read option to give Lanning the choice whether to keep or to give.
This time he'll give, and a first down for Montgomery. 1st and goal from the 1.
That's been great pace, good rhythm on this drive.
Iowa State has scored on every red zone possession this season, and that streak continues. David Montgomery in for 6, his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season, and the Cyclones go back on top.
That was an impressive drive, and you know, despite having an opportunity to get off of the field for Oklahoma State, if you're the defensive coordinator, Glenn Spencer, you're upset because you had your opportunities, and the one thing you can't do is don't miss your play, especially when you're in the right defensive call. But Iowa State capitalizing on the mistakes and the rhythm of this offense.
The
10
PAT
plays
is good.
Yeah, 10-play, 75-yard drive that ate up nearly 3 minutes of the clock. That is what Iowa State is looking for.
Montgomery's had himself a nice afternoon, splitting carries with Warren. Tonight we'll have the Sunshine State Showdown. Number 23, Florida State, and undefeated and 10th ranked Miami. The Noles have won 6 in a row, but this is an opportunity for Mark Richt in his first season at Coral Gables to reestablish Miami as a national power. You win this game, all of a sudden, I mean, shoot, Miami and Virginia Tech. Maybe you throw North Carolina in there as well. I mean, those teams in the Coastal Division, somebody from there, I've got a feeling, will emerge as a worthy challenger to whoever comes out of the Atlantic, which right now looks like it's going to be Clemson.
I personally think that conference right now is the most exciting. Definitely, and I'm looking forward to watching some of that matchup. And I think Mark Richt has done an excellent job there at Miami. Obviously, an alum, played it there at the university, and he brought in Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator, who has a lot of exotic looks, and they're looking right now that they could be legit. Tonight will be a test to see and to prove if they are back.
Touchback on the kick. These college football rankings presented by Goodyear, taking a look at the top 10. And if Florida State were to lose, we all pegged that game they had in late October against Clemson.
Yeah.
They could have 3 losses before the Clemson game.
Yep.
Michigan, Washington in the top 5. We saw Houston in person. I know
Legit.
They've dropped to number 6. They've got a game in November against Louisville. They looked the part. Although Navy's giving the Cougars a run for their money. An option tough to prepare for and tough to play against.
You're so right, Anish. There's not enough people run it for you to get the reps you need.
Oklahoma State down 3 at home late first half. Low throw caught by Childs, and a great tackle in space by Iowa State and DeAndre Payne. The Cyclones coaches told us they had to tackle better in space this week. They've played outstanding ball on defense so far in this first half.
I couldn't agree more, Anish. And, with these spread offenses now, your cornerbacks, your linebackers, and your safeties are really left on islands to make plays in the tackle. And you've got to run to the football just in case somebody misses. But great open field tackle there.
Over the middle, you throw into the direction of 28, and good things happen. James Washington again, a gain of 19.
And he's not even scared to grow across the middle. And I'm really starting to see exactly what they were talking about yesterday. Offense coordinator Mike Urich said he does everything well, and you've seen it here today.
Incomplete. Seals tried to haul it in with one hand. It's 2nd and 10. Or rather, McCleskey.
Yeah, when I watch Washington on film, the ability that he runs as he's coming off the field here. This kid just runs with authority, and his speed is above average. He can beat and blow off the top of coverages, and is certainly one of the top playmakers in this conference.
That one dropped by Austin Hayes, the fifth-year senior from San Antonio, and that one inexcusable.
Oh, and it also hurts. It really does. And not only does it hurt this offense, but, you know, you're out there, you just run a simple curl route, puts the ball in the perfect location. But what I will say is he tried to catch that ball with his body. You've got to get your hands out in front. And I know in that midsection it's difficult sometimes. You've got to adjust your knees to be able to make that catch.
Watch out for McCleskey in the slot. He had a big game last week. On third down, Rudolph over the middle. In traffic, incomplete. Intended receiver was Seals, and Wiltz broke it up.
Yeah, Wiltz there came up big for his team on third down. Was completely shadowing the wide receiver. As you'll see him come from the right of your screen. But watch the hand he goes with, and that left hand, that is perfect textbook technique right there. The left hand to secure the tackle, the right hand to break up the ball. Wiltz there making a fine play on third down for the Cyclones.
So Siner to punt. Ryan back deep, averaging 22 yards per return. Hasn't had many opportunities today. And a fair catch signal. Ryan muffs it, and I believe he covered it up. And he did. Kick off your Week 5 NFL Sunday with us on ESPN at 10 a.m. Eastern. It's NFL Insiders. The Sunday edition will have all the early breaking stories and injury news. And then at 11, the Sunday NFL Countdown crew take you right up to kickoff. I don't know if you heard, but the Patriots got their starting quarterback coming back this week.
Oh, boy. Hey, you know, and I like our new Countdown crew. I think you've got some colorful characters that have been added. And, you know, I know some people change is difficult and hard, but I really like what, you know, waking up on Sunday morning and watching the guys and their commentary.
Tell you what, the Pats have not missed a beat with Jacoby Brissett and Jimmy Garoppolo. $1:49 to go, opening half. Lanning will run, and Joel Lanning with a first down and more. He's to the 31. And with less than 2 minutes, that will momentarily stop the clock. Iowa State has one timeout. How do they play this final series of the first half? They're going to go quickly. Lanning again has room to run. Lots of green space. He can't quite get out of bounds, but he picks up another first down at the 47. And that again stops the clock momentarily with a $1:26.
And I know the Cyclones are winning this game right now, but I think they need to do more of that. And I said at the beginning of the game, Lanning's ability to get in the quarterback run game will be very instrumental to this team. Really puts the pressure on this Cowboys defense.
Jones goes in motion. Here's a screen to Jones. He's got midfield. And stopped right at the 49 of Oklahoma State by Flowers. Second down. Clock continues to run. The Cyclones with just one timeout left. They'll go empty. Quick throw. And that is a catch. Lazard makes it. It's a first down. And the clock will stop with 48 seconds. And start on the official's whistle.
Really marching down the field as Oklahoma State makes a substitution on their defensive line.
40 seconds. Lanning under pressure. And slung down back at the 48 of Iowa State.
Looked like Jarrell Owens there coming up big with the sack there. They call a timeout, and you know, if you're Lanning, these are the types of decisions. You've got to understand situational football. You're in your 2-minute offense, and that's what I was saying earlier about trying to be a hero. Throw the ball away, come back, get on the ball. Do not take those negative plays. And you look at it, 4 sacks today, and I can think of 2 where he could have gotten out of those, and that's not good.
Iowa State in this first half has run 52 plays.
Wow. That is amazing.
Oklahoma State, it feels they've been on defense pretty much the entire first 30 minutes. We've had 4 lead changes.
That's awesome.
And Matt Campbell, the Cyclones head coach, told us how much this team has improved. Remember, they opened the season, Iowa State did, with a loss to Northern Iowa, an FCS school.
Now, Northern Iowa's pretty good, though.
They are, but again,
we know that, but
it's not the same weight class.
You're right.
They lost to Iowa badly. They lost to TCU. They got that first win against San Jose State. And then they marched up and down the field for 3 quarters on Baylor. The Bears could not stop Iowa State last week. But Matt Campbell said they have to find the 5 or 6 plays to finish a game. They didn't play the final 15 minutes, and Baylor came back to win on a last-second field goal. The moral of the story, from Northern Iowa to Baylor till today, this team has improved exponentially. It's not even close to the same team we saw the first few weeks.
You're absolutely right, and I think a lot of it has to do with that man right there, head coach Matt Campbell. Just talking to him, you know, the energy oozes out of him, and if you're a young player and you can identify with them, and it makes it a lot easier to be able to connect with your players and find the ways that they know how to learn, as the Cyclones here have now a second and long situation.
No timeouts. Here's Ryan. He's got to get to the sideline. He gets to the original line of scrimmage. It's 3rd and 10. The clock continues to run. Less than 20 seconds to go in this first half.
I wouldn't be surprised to just see a heave here into the end zone and take a shot on 3rd down.
And now the officials have stopped the clock. I don't know what's the delay here. 12 seconds on the game clock. Now it's starting to run again. 10 seconds, 9 seconds. Lanning under pressure, sacked. The 5th sack by Oklahoma State. And that will take us to halftime. DeQuinton Osborne gets that one.
That wasn't his fault there. The offensive line just didn't block many people there. It's only a 4-man rush, and they got 2 guys to him. Poor execution there from the offensive line.
Iowa State on the road with a 3-point lead at halftime, and right now the officials still conferring.
"60-second timeout."
You know what? I love this move by Mike Gundy. Make the offense, if they're going to punt, and again, remember they had 3 blocked kicks last week.
Fair enough.
Why not take a chance? But if you're Iowa State now with a second, now there's 1 second to go, and if Oklahoma State has used a timeout here, Mike Gundy and the Cowboys took a timeout with 1 second left, so Iowa State will have to run another play. And if Iowa State's going to punt, and you're Mike Gundy and you're the Cowboys, you look at the success you've had blocking kicks for this season. But if you're Iowa State with 1 second, I mean, you just take the ball and take a knee?
I think you're right. I mean, yeah, that's another way to combat, you know, Mike Gundy there. And boy, that hair is some good-looking hair, man.
Business in the front, a lot of party in the back.
Yeah, there was definitely, you know, there's 3 seconds. So I would assume he would have gotten to him there, you know, to call the timeout.
Well, the offense is coming back out on the field. So, you know, initially on paper, you're saying, wait, make them punt, and then a second to go, 4th down. I would imagine, I'd imagine with everybody back deep, although Oklahoma State's been burned in this situation once before this season.
That is true.
Let's see what Matt Campbell draws up. We'll stop speculating. And Lanning will just take a knee at the 41, and that sends us to halftime. So, really, we just delayed the inevitable.
Yeah. I tell you what has some strong evidence is the improvement for this Cyclones team. It's a completely different unit. They've come out. They were able to stop Oklahoma State, which I think was the most impressive part. But the way they're scoring points and moving the ball up down the field, this is a completely different Cyclones team.
Yeah, they've improved quite a bit. A 3-point lead at the half. This is an Iowa State team that came into this game having lost 25 of their last 29 in conference play. Downstairs to Dawn.
Well, Coach Campbell, defensively, your guys able to pull some big stops that half. What needs to continue to see that in the second half?
Well, we got to keep winning on first down. I think, when we've been successful, we've won on first down. We got to keep doing that and then get our personnel in to be able to defend on second and third.
You talked about the need to sustain drives. You were able to do that with both quarterbacks that half. Assess what each guy was able to do for you.
Well, I think some good and then some things I'm sure they all like to have back. And so, again, we've left some things on both sides of the ball out there. We just got to be more consistent in the second half, and a great challenge for our team.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks so much.
Matt Campbell looking to get a big win in his first season at Iowa State. The Cyclones with a 3-point lead at the half as we go to the studio and to Brendan.
Thank you, Anish. No doubt a big story. The Iowa State defense in this one, holding Oklahoma State to just 14 points at halftime. Worst rush defense in the Big 12 entering this game. Allowed 469 yards on the ground to Baylor, just 40 yards on the ground for Oklahoma State after 30 minutes. Along with Kevin Carter and Charles Arbuckle, I'm Brendan Fitzgerald. This is the ESPNU halftime report. 3-point lead for the visiting Cyclones. What'd you notice?
This is an improved Iowa State Cyclones team. I mean, it doesn't show up quite in the numbers in the win and loss column because they're 0-2 in conference play. And you see they lost 25 out of the last 29 conference play over the last couple of years. But when you look at the numbers here, okay, total yards, time of possession, first downs, I mean, they are dominating this game statistically, but it isn't quite showing up in the points column just yet because Oklahoma State's a little bit more efficient than they are.
Just a 3-point lead for Iowa State. That's not really safe against this explosive Oklahoma State offense.
No, and that's what you expect. I mean, when I looked at Oklahoma State, I wanted to see more James Washington, who was out of the game last week, and he is really a key weapon for this Oklahoma State ball club. When he is in the game, you're going to see what they're able to do with them. They go quickly here, get them isolated on the outside. Rudolph is able to get the ball down the field. This leads to their touchdown, and this is, you talk about explosiveness, he is an explosive player. Then they're able to go right after that with Hill scoring on that next play. Those are the kind of things you expect out of Oklahoma State. But this Iowa State defense, to Kevin's point, they're playing really good defense, and they're really doing a nice job against Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they're fighting from a deficit of perception, but they're giving themselves chances by getting off the field and dominating the time of possession.
More than 50 plays run, as Anish mentioned, by Iowa State, dominating the time of possession through the first half, and they have a 3-point lead at halftime. Oklahoma State, one Big 12 loss so far this season. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Cowboys. It's at Kansas before a big game against a West Virginia team that is still unbeaten right now. Buck, when you look at Oklahoma State, big picture on the Big 12, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think with Kansas, we can say, well, that should be a win, but we saw that against TCU. They should have beat TCU. West Virginia, if they can protect the quarterback position, I think, and they're playing a lot better defense. I think that's, to me, what I like about West Virginia. Kansas, you know you're going to get. Their defense is strong. They play well. This conference, I can't figure it out this year. I just can't, because one week you see a team that shouldn't be good, guys, that's playing well, and then the next week they look awful. So it's just, what are you going to get from week to week?
So you're like everyone else. You can't figure out the Big 12.
It seems like every game in the Big 12 comes down like the last 2 minutes of the game on a last-second missed field goal. I mean, it's wacky.
This may be a bit of a surprise to many. Iowa State on the road with a 3-point lead on Oklahoma State as we get ready for the start of the third quarter. Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks, Don Davenport will be with us in just a moment. Iowa State defensively and offensively, it's looked like a complete team in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, Matt Campbell has his team putting it together, and I thought the most impressive part of the day was the defense. We all knew that they could score points on offense, but the way they've been able to stop the Cowboys has been most impressive to me.
Yeah, Cyclones again with a 3-point lead as we get ready for the start of quarter number 3. And this was an Iowa State team that had Baylor on the ropes last week, but they struggled defensively and they couldn't finish the deal. They didn't play 4 quarters. We'll see if Iowa State can finish this one off. We'll see what kind of response Oklahoma State has coming out of halftime. The Cowboys to receive the second half kick. Chris Francis boots this one into and out of the end zone for a touchback.
We talked about that defense. You saw tight coverage. You saw them winning at the line of scrimmage. Just great individual effort there on the part of the D-line, getting to the quarterback, putting them down. 5 sacks on the game already. The tight coverage there coming on the back end from Wiltz. And on the opposite side of the ball, Jacob Park had the hot hand. His ability to be able to find the right wide receiver, throw in the tight spaces. And you see him here on the move. Excellent ball, finding Alan Lazard for the touchdown. But this team looks completely different. They're clicking on all cylinders right now. And Matt Campbell said it at the half. He says, we've left some things out there on the field while talking to Don. Expect them to come back out here and try to capitalize on those.
Mason Rudolph to the air on first down. James Washington over the century mark in receiving yards as he picks up a first down, and we check in with Don.
We are looking for rhythm. That's what head coach Mike Gundy told his offense there at the break. He said the way that they're going to find that rhythm is balance, run, pass, balance. And they need a couple of big plays to get things going. Also, guys, defensively, he said that they have missed so many tackles. He said it's great. They have 5 sacks that half. They're putting some pressure on the quarterback, but they've got to tackle better.
Well, that balance that had been there offensively the last 2 weeks has not been there. Oklahoma State has struggled to run the football. Now, they do have one key component of the O-line missing. Larry Williams, the starting right guard, out with an injury. Michael Wilson getting the start in his place, but only 41 rush yards so far. Here's Childs, brings in the high throw, tackled by Peavy. This will be close to a first down. 3rd and short.
Yeah, it's important for Rudolph to get into a good rhythm right here, just like Don said.
Childs tries to change direction, and he is stopped short of the marker by Payne, and it's 4th down.
I love what Payne just did there. He attacked the football. He didn't wait for it to come to him. He went, just watch him here. Great job of open field tackle, closing down that space. Excellent job here as they're sending back their offensive unit out here in Oklahoma State, the Cowboys. Pulling the trigger early on, and I don't think this is a surprise to anybody. Inside of the 40s is usually when teams want to challenge on 4th downs. They go during this time.
Barry J. Sanders in the backfield. Rudolph will throw on 4th down. Incomplete. Turnover on downs. The gamble fails for Gundy.
Went to the play action pass. I'm not so sure. It looked like there was only 1 or 2 outlets for Rudolph to pass the ball there. They wanted to get into their play action game, get him moving on the pocket. It wasn't a good ball, but despite the fact, even if he would have caught it, you see it here coming to the right of your screen. I still think Wiltz would have made a play on that ball for sure.
And Ahmad, the Iowa State sideline erupted after that 4th down stop. This is a big sudden change. The Cyclones now operate in plus territory and have a chance to go up 2 scores here in this 3rd quarter. Joel Lanning at quarterback. That was a gutsy call. It did not pay off. Lanning will keep it. He's got some blockers. And he's his own blocker. A gain of 8, 2nd and 2.
Yeah, the design quarterback run game. I go back to it. Lanning is a good athlete. And, in talking to Oklahoma State defensive coordinator Glenn Spencer, he said when the quarterback runs, we're down a man just based on you don't account for the quarterback.
Mike Warren up the middle. And a first down for Iowa State. Warren, a kid from Lawton, Oklahoma, about 2.5 hours from here. The Iowa State coaching staff actually began recruiting him to Toledo when Matt Campbell was the Rockets head coach. And a flag.
False start. Offense. Number 53. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
That's the right guard, Patrick Scoggins. As we mentioned, this is an offensive line for Iowa State that does not have a ton of experience, but they have improved to their credit week to week. A lot of credit goes to Tom Manning, the offensive coordinator and O-line coach. Lanning under pressure. Throws on the run downfield. Touchdown! Ryan caught it!
He wasn't going to drop that one. And he went after it with two hands and he secured the catch with his chest. I'm referring to the first half where he should have had, this should have been his second touchdown. The play design on this play. Yet when you've got a running quarterback like Lanning, they faked the quarterback design run game, booted out to the left, and just an excellent job of finding some space there in coverage. And the ball was put in the prime location for Ryan to make a play. But I go back to Lanning being able to run on those early downs. That is why it was effective with the designed quarterback run game that looked as though that's what it was about to be right before he rolled out to throw a touchdown.
Oklahoma State blocked 3 PATs last week. Now they won't block this one. It started with a defensive stop after a gambit by Oklahoma State. 4th down, the Cowboys do not get it from their own territory. And then a few plays later, Lanning to Ryan. 10-point lead for the Cyclones. Mike Gundy decided to go for it on 4th down with the ball in Oklahoma State territory. The Cowboys don't get it. Iowa State capitalizes on the short field.
I'm okay with the 4th down call. I don't like the play call. When you only have 2 options on the field and they ran a play action fake, considering they've only rushed for 41 yards on the day, who are you fooling with the play action in that situation? I would have liked to have seen something where he had more options, where Rudolph wouldn't have had to throw to the one option that was in his face.
So no issue going for it very early here in the second half.
Not at all.
Another touchback for Francis. Oklahoma State has not had a chance in the return game. So the Cowboys get the ball back. Mason Rudolph today, 12 out of 21, 184 yards. The junior from Rock Hill, South Carolina. He has not turned it over. That was a problem, especially with fumbles earlier this year. And the run game, we told you Oklahoma State has had a 100-yard rusher in 3 straight games. Justice Hill, the leading rusher right now with 39 yards on 11 carries. But as a team, just 41 yards on the ground. They give us to Hill on 1st down, looking for the edge, tries to cut it back. And boy, this Iowa State run defense has improved. They gave up 469 yards on the ground to Baylor, and Shock Linwood ran all over them. Oklahoma State has had very little in that department. On the ground once more. And Hill swallowed at the line of scrimmage by Payne. It's 3rd and long.
Man, they are stuffing the run, but I think what's been very impressive is their ability to run to the football and the way they're running to the ball right now.
Justin Thomas coming off the field. You heard boos cascading from the crowd after that last run call. Third and 13. Rudolph is going to take a shot downfield, incomplete. 4th down, Payne broke it up, and 3 and out. Go the Cowboys.
2 consecutive plays there made by Payne. Excellent job with run support. He comes back and says, I can also do it on the deep end in the passing game. Great coverage, great technique. And this Iowa State defense right now is giving their team momentum for sure.
And now another opportunity to work with a short field. Ryan came in leading the nation in punt return average. He's waiting back at the 36. Signer to kick it away. Good punt by Steiner. Here's Ryan. There's a flag. Might be a block in the back. Ryan subdued inside the 15. And this may come back even further, half the distance.
Yeah, I think that's what you got right there. And injured player down.
And
Trevor
that's Ryan after the play. He caught the last touchdown.
Block in the back. Receiving team, number 34. 10-yard penalty. It's first down, Iowa State. Timeout on the field.
Flag on Nigel Tribune. Ryan is down. He's got a touchdown reception in this game. Almost had another one. There's the block by 34 Tribune. A 56-yard punt by Steiner to flip the field.
ESPNU College Football is brought to you by Cabela's. Get to Cabela's for all your hunting, fishing, camping, and outdoor needs.
Alan Lazard could have played for any team in the country out of high school, but he chose to follow in his dad's footsteps instead. Kevin Lazard was a captain for the Cyclones back in 1993. His son, a captain this year. I spoke to Alan. He told me he vividly remembers going to Iowa State games, playing football behind the stands, attending tailgates. He cited this fan base as the reason he chose Iowa State.
All right, thank you, Dawn. Lazard lined up at the top of your screen. Iowa State pinned deep and not much room for Warren, a gain of a yard. You know, Lazard in the offseason during a spring break trip with a couple of teammates. Good Samaritan hero, rescued a woman who had crashed her car into a canal. He and his teammates cracked her windshield and pulled her out to safety.
Amazing.
Incomplete, intended for Montgomery, and it's 3rd and long.
Yeah, there was just too much juice on that pass. Yeah, Lanning there has to show better touch, and if you're Oklahoma State's defense, you've got to get off the field here. OSU has started 7 of their 8 drives from their own 25 or worse. If they could shut the gate here, get off the field, this will probably be some of the better field position that Oklahoma State's offense would have had all game long.
Yeah, and it was Lazard's brother, Anthony, not Alan Lazard, who saved the woman, but the Lazard family certainly with a lot to be proud of as we've got a flag on the play.
False start, offense, number 5, half the distance to the goal. It's 3rd down.
That's Alan Lazard. And this is a big sequence here for Iowa State. They've got a 10-point lead. 3rd and long, pinned deep.
It's a dangerous area here. If I'm Oklahoma State, I'm heating up the pocket or I'm dropping back in coverage, keeping everything in front. 2 options there.
Lanning's pass incomplete, broken up by Ashton Lampkin.
Lampkin there with perfect timing. He was over the top of the wide receiver, which allowed him to be able to see through the wide receiver to the quarterback. Knew exactly when that ball came out of his hand and was able to react and make a play. Great coverage on the outside. A nice job of keeping his feet hot at the top of that route, which allowed him to get in and out of that transition, which then ultimately allowed him to make a play on the ball.
So Downing will punt. Look at where he's standing, back of his own end zone. 2 returners for the Cowboys. And McCleskey makes the fair catch at the 46 as we get an update from Brendan.
Hey, Anish, we are on major upset alert in the American Conference. Navy up a touchdown late in the 3rd quarter. Brandon Colon to Will Worth for the touchdown. 2 passing touchdowns in the game. For the Mids, they lead by 2 touchdowns. Back to you.
Houston undefeated. As of right now, the group of 5's best bet for a playoff chance. If Houston's out, that mantle probably passes to Boise State. There's pressure from the Cyclones. And Rudolph's pass incomplete in the direction of Washington. Last 4 drives for Oklahoma State. Touchdown, punt, turnover on downs, punt.
Look at the amount of plays there, too. This has been something. 20 more plays that Iowa State has actually run over this Oklahoma State offense. And that is where we talked about it earlier. This Iowa State defense is playing lights out right now.
Rudolph in trouble. Gets away from the initial pursuit and then tackled from behind after a gain of 4.
Talking to the offensive coordinator yesterday, Mike Urich, he said Rudolph reminds him of Ben Roethlisberger in the fact that he's hard to drag down. He's not going to beat you with foot speed. That time there you saw it, though, but he was incredibly difficult to drag down. And when you do watch Ben Roethlisberger, no matter if you get to him or not, you've still got to be able to finish the play, and Rudolph is no different.
3rd down from just inside midfield. Rudolph had trouble with the snap. Gets rid of this one, and it's batted down by Mike Johnson, the redshirt freshman from Clearwater. 4th down. And the punt team coming on for the Cowboys. Well, you talk about a missed opportunity. Oklahoma State with a very short field, and again, 3 and out. So 4 downs and out, a 3 and out, and a 3 and out to start the second half.
And according to the numbers right now, they're 4 of 11 on 3rd down. Iowa State is really winning on 1st and 2nd downs right now and preventing this offense from getting anything started.
Lazard, the return man, with Ryan going down with the injury. And he makes a fair catch at the 15. 24-14, Cyclones. Celebrating its 12th year, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks, Dawn Davenport scores a surprise to many of us. 24-14 Iowa State. This Cowboy offense, which came in averaging 41 points per game, has been held in check by what looks to be a vastly improved Iowa State defense. Lanning to Montgomery in the flat. Montgomery powers across the 20 for a gain of 8.
Yeah, that's where Lanning has had the most success throwing the football today, was the short, intermediate throws. He's really struggled throwing the deep ball today, and if the coaching staff for Iowa State, I'm sure they are paying attention to that. I'd be careful in going downfield with Lanning in the ball game.
Lanning will run on 2nd down. And he picks up a 1st down. Scoggins, the right guard, held that block long enough. You got to wonder at some point, Ahmad, this Oklahoma State defense, they have not had much of a breather in this half. They've been on the field already for 63 plays.
You're right, Anish. You know, and this is what these offenses, these spread tempo offenses, they're predicating on getting the defense fatigued and then going to work.
You're seeing Iowa State slow it down here with a 10-point lead. Montgomery looking for room, and he's able to pick up a couple. 2nd and 8. Mike Warren back in. He's lined up as a receiver here on 2nd and 8. Top of your screen. Lazard all the way at the bottom of your screen. Against a 4-man rush, Lanning on the move. Over the middle, that's caught. It's Epps. And it'll bring up 3rd and 1.
Great decision there by Lanning, and the quick release, the ability to get the ball out of his hand quickly. That particular route, when moving to your right, there's a small passing window to get it in. 3rd and short here with running as an option.
They'll go to Jones. He gets a block. Deshaunte Jones out of bounds across the 40. And again, Iowa State continues to move the chains. And this Cowboy defense has to stay out on the field. And there's a trickle-down effect here because the longer Oklahoma State's defense is out on the field, it means when the offense gets the ball back, they might not be able to go as fast as they would like to go.
True.
Lanning will keep it up the middle to the outside. He's got the 30 and finally driven to the sideline by Flowers. Lanning took a spill. It's a narrow sideline here at Boone Pickens, but a huge gain, 40 yards.
We've seen this play multiple times with him handing the ball off to Warren. This time here with a great decision, keeping the ball and showing a little bit of his athleticism. And you know, this wall here at Oklahoma State is so close. Last week, Deontay Foreman gets hurt in one of the corners. And I remember playing here, how close and dangerous it is. That time Lanning was unaware that it was so close as he was trying to keep an eye on the defenders who were chasing him down.
Inside the red zone. Lanning over the middle. Lazard! Touchdown, Iowa State.
That's the first time today I've seen him with a one-on-one opportunity, and Lanning found him. You saw it happening, and it appeared to be an option route that Allen could have either gone outside or inside based on the defensive back's leverage. This time here, Lanning stared him down the whole way. He knew where he was going. Allen Lazard is a big-time playmaker, and especially when you start getting near the end zone because of his ability to leap and win in one-on-one matchups. Iowa State with a convincing lead here over the Cowboys.
It is 31-14. Lanning, a perfect throw to Lazard. Things are happening at Stillwater. Oh, there you go. There's your metaphor. That sums it up. That man was holding his head down. There's another one. This has been a shock to the system for the Cowboy fans. Down by 17 at home to Iowa State.
How about Iowa State already with 400 yards of offense compared to Oklahoma State's 226? And you go back and look at Oklahoma State's last 16 plays. They've only been able to muster up 43 yards of offense. I mean, they are winning right now on both sides of the ball, and Lanning perfect on that last drive, that big long rush that he had that really set them up for the touchdown. The Cyclones are rolling.
A chance to return a kick here for Oklahoma State. They needed some kind of a spark, and Sanders to the 24. Well, this college football season, stream every game live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN. The Watch app is our instrument of choice on Saturdays. We get ready for our game and monitor a few other games on our iPads and iPhones and computers. You ever watch the Goal Line channel? They just flip from game to game.
That's addictive. Oh, boy. Yeah, if you're Oklahoma State now and you're Mason Rudolph, and Mike Gundy said it, we go as our quarterback goes, and right now Mason Rudolph is not having the best game of his career.
There's Justice Hill on first down. And he's to the 26. The run game just hasn't been there today for Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy told us as much as they throw the ball around, he doesn't like soft football. He wants a balanced attack. They've had it the last few weeks, but not today. Did McCleskey come down with that? He did at the 45-yard line. A gain of 18.
They just went here with, you watched Rudolph with the pump fake. That's what holds the defense, allowed him to get right there on the sideline. Call those a cover 2 beater. Put it right in that space in between the cornerback and the safety. Nice job of spotting the football there and making the catch.
Incomplete to Jarwin on the comeback. And this crowd is starting to get a little restless with a 17-point deficit against one of the Big 12 bottom feeders.
Yeah, something's not right with Mason. The junior from Rock Hill, South Carolina, has been pretty sharp, and I'm with the guy on the right there shaking his head. That time there, that's an easy toss and catch that he wasn't able to connect on.
Back to the sideline. There's old reliable Washington, brought down by Peavy. And it's 3rd and 5. And this might be 4 down territory. They already went for it once to start the half in their own zone, did not get it. And Iowa State scored 3 plays later. Over the middle, incomplete, jarred loose by Brian Mills, and it's 4th down. And the punt team is going to come on for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Rudolph there missed again on location. That ball has to be thrown outside. It was thrown inside, which allowed the defender to come back and separate the wide receiver from the ball. I mean, this is a throw he usually makes. McCleskey had the space there. They had the first down conversion. Rudolph just not on target.
Signer to punt it away. Lazard shielding his eyes, and he makes the fair catch at the 15. Iowa State in the second half. The defense has been terrific, and the offense has moved the ball with Lanning.
One thing that Coach Campbell said this week, we've got to tackle better in space. They've done that. But he also knew they needed big plays, and they need their offensive playmakers to get started there. Alan Lazard with the touchdown, and it's happened for them. This team is starting to gain some confidence. They're playing that way, and the scoreboard is certainly showing it.
The Cyclone fans who made the trip enjoying this performance so far, but you do have to go back to last week. Iowa State played well for 3 quarters last week. Could not put the punctuation at the end of the sentence against Baylor.
Good point, Anish.
Lanning on the keeper, and he is dropped at the line of scrimmage. And you look at the clock, 4 minutes and a change. Given the tempo and how these teams play, there's plenty of football left.
Yeah, and if you're Iowa State right now, you just continue to milk this clock. They've had the ball 10 minutes longer than the Cowboys have, and right now this defense for Oklahoma State is winded, and they need some rest.
'70th play call of the game for Iowa State, and Lanning picks up a couple. 3rd and 8. Averett on the stop. Epps motions. Lanning stands in. Incomplete. 4th down. And did the Cowboy defense need that stop?
You're right. Lanning there, you know, he had the guy he was looking for. Great play design. I like the way he looked off to his left. Most of his wide receivers on his right. It looked like he knew he was going. And Lazard there laying out the 6'5" frame, wasn't able to haul it in. But every wide receiver will tell you, if it hits your hands, that's your ball. And Lazard doesn't normally drop balls that hit him in the hands.
Downing will punt. Angled kick. Takes a bounce at the 47. And then bounces back. And it'll be Oklahoma State ball at the 44. Good starting field position. Tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN, number 1 Alabama, number 16 Arkansas. Big-time SEC and playoff implications. And you can also watch it live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. 17 straight wins for the Tide. Is there that big of a gulf, you think, between Alabama, Ohio State, and everybody else?
If I were voting, Ohio State would be my number 1 team. And yeah, we all know what Alabama is about. And I think they'll have plenty of time, especially through this stretch that they're about to go through, to prove that they are the number 1 team in the country.
Off play action, Rudolph. Over the middle, too high for Washington. Coverage there by Wiltz.
He's lucky that wasn't picked off.
Barry J. Sanders checks in. Hill is out. Jarwin checks in as well. Over the middle, McCleskey wide open. Stutter step and he's to the 35 of Iowa State. A gain of 20.
Yeah, they caught him bringing the pressure, and great job and great play recognition there from Rudolph to get it in the right location, and this time hit his target.
Rudolph 15 out of 30. Downfield for Washington. He's open. Touchdown, Cowboys.
You figured there would be a surge at some point from the Cowboys. Beautiful rhythm there from Rudolph. He does a nice job of looking to his left to create that space, moving the safety with his eyes, finding Washington to the right of the field, and putting it in stride to the dynamic James Washington.
And a flag.
Offside by the defense. Penalties declined. Try from the 3-yard line.
'49-year-old Mike Gundy, the most successful head coach in the history of Oklahoma State football. His team trying to claw back. PAT by Grogan is good. 7 catches, 149 yards. Another monster game for James Washington.
Let's take a look to see how they took advantage. I want you to watch James Washington right here. He's going to run a simple out and up, which completely dupes the defender. And the reason why this was able to work is because of the type of player he is. That's not the kind of situation you want to be in as a cornerback covering one of the more dynamic wide receivers in the game. Wiltz there bites on the double move, and Washington, with that elite speed and catching ability, finds the end zone.
How should he play that?
Well, you've got to stay over the top. You don't want to give up the points. You want to be able to at least come up and wrap up, give your defense an opportunity to be able to play the next play. You know, the best part, it's very difficult in off coverage, number one. Number two, you've got to be able to see through the quarterback. That time there, he took his eyes off of the wide receiver, which allowed Washington the space to get over the top and beat coverage.
With 149 yards today, Washington for the season is close to 730 yards.
Already.
And
that
this is
scary.
game 6.
Wow.
Nwangu. Taken down hard at the 23. And we check in with Brendan in the studio.
Anish, we check back in with what's happening in College Station. After a Josh Dobbs fumble, Travion Williams turns it into a touchdown. Tennessee just punched one in. It's 28-13 pending an extra point. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Brendan. Here it's 31-21. Iowa State on top, looking for its first win in Stillwater since 2000.
They're also trying to prove, like you said, they had a win within their grasp last week versus Baylor and got outscored 17-0 in the fourth quarter. Can they close here today with a 10-point lead?
Here's the blitz. Over the middle, Epps is wide open. And he's to the 40-yard line for a big gain. The ball popped out. Oklahoma State says they have it, and they do.
Iowa State took advantage of Oklahoma State in an all-out blitz. Lanning there doing a good job of throwing from an awkward motion. That ball's out. Looks like, you know, watch him here. He's on top of the defender and right about here. Great job with the camera angle. Nice rake there from Trey Flowers, the strong safety. An excellent job.
On the field of a fumble recovered by the defense is under review.
Yeah, I think this play is going to stand.
I agree. And, you know, here's what Iowa State fans are thinking, because they've been in this situation so many times, not just this year, but previous years, where they seem to have an opponent on the ropes. They seem so close to a knockout punch, and then they drop their hands just for a minute, and the other team gets back into the game. Look what happened when these two teams played last year. Iowa State led 24-7 in the first half. The Cyclones led 31-21 going into the fourth quarter, and Oklahoma State came back to win. And you know that's going through the heads of Cyclone Nation.
When you suffer those types of losses as a player, you never forget about them. And I don't think your psyche changes until you're able to get over the hump in a very similar situation. So the bad part is that's happened to them. The good part is they find themselves in this same situation. This clearly looks like a fumble to me. Right there, he's not on the ground, and from the opposite angle, you didn't see an elbow or anything else on the ground. I think this play stands. It doesn't appear to be enough evidence to overturn this call. And Mr. Trey Flowers with a big-time defensive play, creating those takeaways that we know this Oklahoma State defense is known for.
You need indisputable video evidence to overturn a call, and based on from what we saw there, this should at least stand.
After reviewing the play, ruling on the field stands. It's first down, Oklahoma State.
Wording important. When you say stand instead of confirmed, it means not enough evidence to overturn the call. Turnovers, a big part of the Iowa State narrative. They are now -2 in turnovers today. They have not won a game in the last 4 years in which they've lost the turnover battle. And Oklahoma State, that is one of their trademarks. They force turnovers as well as anybody.
Indeed. Best in the Big 12.
And a chance now to make this a one-score game with 2:12 to go here in the third. It would not surprise me if they took a shot here off the sudden change. Instead, it's a run. Hill up the middle, a couple of nice moves. And he picks up 11 for a first down to the 30.
He picked up a bone-crushing block, too, on the outside edges from Chris Lacey. Just flattened the defender. The top of your screen right here, I want you to watch this block. It is treacherous indeed. Oh, yikes. And that was the space that he needed to be able to pick up yardage.
Lacey, an outstanding blocker, and Mike Gundy told us perimeter blocking by the wideouts, a big reason the run game has improved. This is Hill. He has the edge. Accelerates upfield across the 25 and to the 23, a gain of 7.
No doubt the momentum has shifted. The turnover was confirmation of that, and the way that they're moving the ball up and down the field. The Cowboys now have found that rhythm that Coach Gundy said was so important right before halftime in talking to Don.
This is Hill once more. And he is about a half-yard shy of the marker, so 3rd and short coming up. Hill gets a breather. Sanders into the game.
We haven't seen Hill's best attributes today, but when you watch him, he's constantly cutting, weaving, creating. When he's on his feet, and the guy has as good as feet as anybody that plays this position. A special player, despite not having his best game today.
We got a timeout with 35 seconds to go here in the third quarter.
First charge timeout, Oklahoma State.
The Cowboys call it. We remind you, Monday Night Football in Charlotte. It's the Buccaneers and Panthers, a couple of quarterbacks who are #1 picks. But Cam Newton will be ruled out for Carolina. Jameis Winston will start for Tampa Bay, and I don't know if the Super Bowl hangover is affecting Carolina. 1-3. Now, those fans have a little more to cheer about than they did about 7-8 minutes ago.
That's great. Yeah, the momentum, as we talked about, shifted, but the energy, I think, is certainly different for this Oklahoma State sideline as well. Much more energetic, and this is a team that can put up points very quickly. And early on in the game, when they were sputtering and they weren't allowing their defense to rest, the scary part about them is you know they can erase a 21-point deficit in 3 possessions. I mean, that's just the style of both of these offenses. So, on the opposite side for Iowa State, they've got to be able to finish one of these games. You know, right now, if you're this defense, you're thinking to yourself, let's hold them to a field goal. And despite our offense turning it over, I think they still win here if they can prevent them from scoring and stop them here on this 3rd down.
3rd and 1. Sanders the back in the pistol. He gets the call, and he gets the first down. They like Sanders in those short yardage situations.
Yeah, he's a one-cut runner, and not a guy that's going to be dancing behind the line of scrimmage, and that style fits perfectly in short yardage and goal line situations.
Washington on the reverse. Washington breaks free and finally dropped by Peavy inside the 5. 1st and goal, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, it was great trickery, and hey, get this guy involved however you can. Add running reverses to that long list of things that Coach Urich said yesterday he was good at doing.
Iowa State takes a 10-point lead into the 4th quarter, but the pendulum has swung. Momentum on the side of the Cowboys. They're on the doorstep when we begin the 4th. Iowa State has controlled most of this game, but Oklahoma State with the ball at the 3-yard line of the Cyclones. They begin the 4th quarter, the Cowboys do, with a chance to make this a 3-point game. And Ishraff, Ahmad Brooks, Don Davenport, 1st and goal, Cowboys. Rudolph will throw, he wants Washington. Washington incomplete. He could not stay in bounds.
Yeah, this was a run-pass option, it looked like, and Rudolph there deciding he had a one-on-one opportunity there with the cornerback. Took a shot.
Sanders in the backfield. Washington split to the top of your screen. Lacey, a very good blocker, lined up at the bottom of your screen. Rudolph throwing for McCleskey. He's open. And Oklahoma State is an extra point away from being within 3.
Got to go back to the Trey Flowers forced fumble. The momentum it created. Oklahoma State coming back. The play calling on this particular drive I thought was on point. You know, they were able to mix it up, keep the Cyclones defense off balance. And that is how they were able to punch one in the end zone.
Grogan with the point after. Rudolph's third TD pass. He finds McCleskey. And the Cowboys are right back in this game. Oklahoma State pushing up. The Cowboys have pushed back. And we now find out what Iowa State is made of. Their head coach, Matt Campbell, told us after the Baylor game last week, he said, we learned we can play with the best team in our conference. The next step is finding those 5 to 6 plays to win the game. They had a 14-point lead going into the fourth quarter against Baylor. They lost it on a last-second field goal. They had a 17-point second-half lead in this one. It's now a 3-point game. Here's Nwangu. And he's bottled up at the 19. And this crowd has become re-energized.
That's what a couple defensive stops will do, and an offense finding its rhythm. And if you're the Oklahoma State Cowboys defense, look, this game is back in your court. If you can come back out and continue to prevent them from scoring points, yeah, 3 and out would be ideal here. But look, if they pick up some chunk yardage, keep them in front of you, shut the door when you need to prevent them from scoring, and Oklahoma State could very well, on their next possession, take control of this ball game.
Empty set. And now Warren motions into the backfield. Warren gets the call. It's a reverse. Jones taken down after a gain of a yard by Vincent Taylor.
I'm going to tell you what, when this guy gets an opportunity to play in the NFL, they will look back at this. He missed him the first time, chased him down in the backfield. The big boy, Vincent Taylor, at 310 pounds, showing tremendous effort to make sure he finished that play.
Lanning under pressure, gets by Averett. On the run, incomplete. Broken up by Flowers, who forced the fumble that changed this game. Play clock down to 5, and Matt Campbell wants a timeout. Will step aside. A big 3rd and 9 for Iowa State on the other side. Today's game track is brought to you by Taco Bell. Joel Lanning, 175 yards through the air, 63 on the ground, a couple of TDs. James Washington, his usual brilliant self. Oklahoma State, a 14-point blitz in the last 3.5 minutes to make this a 3-point game, and now 3rd and long for Iowa State. Over the middle and dropped by Lazard. 4th down. Third drop by the sure-handed Allen Lazard.
Yeah, that doesn't bode well. And if there are some NFL scouts looking at this young man and watching the game there, just no excuses. Hit him in the breadbasket. And Lanning connected with Lazard the way he was supposed to. And sometimes as a player, when things aren't going your way as a team, it snowballs. And what you're starting to see right now is Iowa State is losing control. And right now, emotionally, they need a charge. They need something good for them to happen for them, or it's about to get scary.
McCleskey on a bounce, erased immediately at the 35 after a 44-yard punt by Downing. The Cowboys in the second half got down 17, but they've clawed to within 3. James Washington, a touchdown. This was the big play. Epps fumbled. Trey Flowers forced it. Lampkin recovered. And then the Cowboys capped the drive with Rudolph's 3rd TD pass. This one to McCleskey. And now Oklahoma State with a chance to take the lead. Ball on the 35. All sorts of time left in this game. And all the momentum on the side of the Cowboys. Off play action. Rudolph steps up, dumps it off to Sanders. And he's got a first down close to midfield at the 47. A gain of 13.
Excellent decision there from Rudolph. Didn't have much, only a 3-man route downfield, and found his check down route to Sanders. Nice decision.
Press coverage on the outside. Rudolph down the seam. McCleskey inside the 20.
McCleskey just getting over the top of coverage. Peavy right in behind him. Beautifully thrown ball that time by Rudolph. He's missed a couple times today. That time, finding McCleskey right in stride.
A 37-yard pickup. Sanders off tackle and brought down from behind inside the 15-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd down for Oklahoma State. And this offense has found a second wind.
They have. And that's good first down yardage. You pick up 4 as Hill is coming into the ball game, but a great job there by Sanders. And, you know, you get in this red zone. It's now time to start looking for ways to get the ball to your playmakers. Let them do the work.
Out of the backfield, and that is Veach, who is gobbled up immediately by Harvey. And it is 3rd down, so now a big play for this Iowa State defense. If they can get off the field and hold Oklahoma State to 3.
This is what they weren't able to do last week. It was very difficult for them to hold Baylor to field goals and to prevent them from scoring touchdowns. Here in the red zone, especially with these high-flying offenses nowadays, this is where you get your points. This is where you shave your points down as a defense and get the ball back to your offense.
Washington at the top of your screen. He's got 8 catches for 161 yards. Play clock running down. And the Cowboys able to call a timeout before a delay of game. Oklahoma State with 1 timeout left. Mike Gundy's team facing a 3rd and 6. Iowa State has not won a Big 12 road game since November 30th, 2013. And for a first-year head coach, if they can pull one out in Stillwater, what would it mean for Matt Campbell?
Well, this means everything for the players, because you're looking at a program that Matt Campbell inherited that doesn't have a lot of these positive outcomes from these situations. So now when you're talking to the players and you're telling them to buy into the plan, now you have tangible evidence and examples to point out and say, hey, guys, remember, this works. And so if you're Iowa State right now, this is about gaining confidence throughout the rest of conference play and perhaps changing the course of this Cyclones program.
On 3rd and 6, Rudolph to the air. Directing traffic, end zone, too high for Seals. And it'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, I think that is as good as you can do if you're Iowa State on defense. Forcing a field goal here is certainly in the Cyclones' best interest. Now it's just a matter of this offense for Iowa State finding a way to get stuff started and to find the magic they had in the first half where they were driving the ball up and down the field on the Cowboys.
Ben Grogan, the senior from Arlington, from 30 for the tie. Brand new ball game with 11:33 to go in the 4th. Tonight we have the Sunshine State Showdown. Number 23 Florida State against number 10 Miami. The Hurricanes looking to snap a 6-game losing streak against the Noles. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. I'll say this, when Miami is good, it is good for college football.
I agree. I certainly agree with you there.
Oklahoma State has certainly elevated in status as a program under Mike Gundy, and a lot's been made of some of the back and forth. Mostly it's been T. Boone Pickens who's been going forth. Mike Gundy hasn't engaged in that much. But I think you have to realize what kind of job he's done here, how hard it was to win here for a long time. Yeah. And, with that dynamic, listen, it's never going to be an easy alliance, but those two men are probably the biggest reason Oklahoma State is where it's at present day as a program.
Hard to argue that, Anish.
Best coach in school history and a guy who's given 9 figures worth to make this program a national program. Here's Nwangu from inside his own 5. Not much running room, taken down at the 20. Downstairs to Dawn.
Well, guys, you mentioned this Iowa State team seems to be letting the energy slip away. It looks like it down here, the body language of this offense when they were over here after that last possession was pretty bad. They had heads in the hands. Coach Matt Campbell came over trying to get his team going, and it's actually wide receiver Trevor Ryan who was running up and down the sideline, the wide receiver who suffered an ankle injury earlier in this game and hasn't played since. He's the one trying to provide a spark right now.
Well, we'll bring in a new quarterback, Dawn, to provide a spark as well in Jacob Park. Iowa State also the last few possessions has slowed down its tempo. How much impact do you think that's had on their efficiency offensively?
I'm not sure if it's much, but I think you're going to see a high-tempo offense here on this particular series.
Park's first action of the second half. He'll run. And he's taken down after a 3-yard gain.
Yeah, that did not look like it was organized in the back end, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, but either the quarterback or the running back went the wrong direction. Very lucky that was not a negative play.
Park began his career at Georgia. Didn't work out there, went the junior college route, although he never played in junior college. Under pressure. Nearly intercepted, and it is picked.
The pass is tipped, intercepted.
Averett tipped it, and Burton caught it off the tip.
One of the keys in this ball game for me was creating takeaways early. They weren't able to do that, and that's why you saw Iowa State get out to a convincing lead, but they've come back and made it right. This time, the pressure on the quarterback, Park, trying to find their number 87, it appeared, but he just couldn't get it there. But give credit to this defense, hustling to the football. Straight hustle play, and it looks like he's in there.
Second pick of the game for Park, and in this situation, he hasn't played in the half. Fourth quarter tie game. Was this the right spot to bring him in?
Yeah, I think so. It's been working for you all year long, and so I don't think you can second guess the decision there because Park is actually having a pretty decent game.
A chance now for the Cowboys. (17) unanswered by Oklahoma State. Hill sweeps around the edge. There's a flag on the play. Penalty marker down at the 30.
Personal foul, chop block, offense, numbers 47 and 77. 15-yard penalty. It's first down.
Blake Jarwin and Victor Saleko. Saleko began his career at UAB, left that school after they disbanded football.
And that puts a major hindrance on this offense. If you're trying to come out of here and take the lead here, knocks you out of field goal range for sure.
Backed up now at the 46-yard line, 1st and 25. Sanders in the backfield. Rudolph checks down to Sanders. And he reaches across the 40 for a gain of 8.
Pass complete to 26, Barry J. Sanders.
Second and 17. Now Oklahoma State has 2 kickers, one for a long field goal, one for a short one. Rudolph will take a shot downfield. Incomplete. Twisting and turning with Seals. And it's 3rd and 18.
You know, one name that we haven't said here in this particular drive is James Washington. Iowa State with a safety over the top of him and a corner in his face. Now's the time to get your dynamic playmaker involved.
There's McCleskey, little pop pass. Sanders couldn't hold the block. And Mills, who's had a terrific game for Iowa State, drops McCleskey for a loss.
Wow.
4th down.
They dissected that play, saw where it was coming, and Mills there never thought that it was going anywhere else. A great job of shedding the block, getting to the ball carrier. She's holding that right hand. It's already bandaged up. That was a great individual effort of beating the block and getting to the ball carrier.
Signer to punt it away. Lazard will let it bounce. And it's into the end zone for a touchback. But wow, what a break for Iowa State. They turn it over. Oklahoma State had a short field. A penalty pinned them back. And the Cowboys come away empty.
Brandon Fitzgerald with a studio update from the American Conference. Houston trailing by 6. This was their final chance. They had to play the lateral game. Greg Ward throws it out of bounds. And for the first time since 1984, Navy has beaten a top 10 team. Anish, back to you.
And that ends Houston's hopes of crashing the playoff party. Cougars had that great win against Oklahoma to open the season. Here we are. We've got a great one in Stillwater. Tied at 31, Iowa State football from the 20. Joel Lanning back in at quarterback after the pick by Park. And Lanning powers ahead for a couple.
Yeah, Iowa State has just been stagnant offensively, and you've got to give credit to Oklahoma State's defense. Creating 2 turnovers, forcing 2 punts. You can't do any better than that, especially when the game's on the line.
Lanning rolls out, finds Lazard at the 25. And it's 3rd and 5. There's a flag back at the 13.
Personal foul, face mask, offense, number 68, half the distance to the goal. From the previous spot, it's 2nd down.
Brian Shetta, the left guard, and you can see it blatant right there. So now Iowa State pinned deep. Second and long, the ball at the 10. 2nd and 19. Incomplete. It's 3rd and long. He wanted Jones, and he was blanketed. A 3-man rush. Lanning steps up. Flag on the play as Lanning gets to the 22. It'll bring up 4th and 8. But let's see what the penalty marker is. There's one down at the 11.
Holding, offense, number 53. This penalty is declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
Scoggins, the right guard. Penalties, turnovers on the road. That ups the difficulty level.
Great job there. Once again, forcing a punt. As it appears as though they forced the punt here if it's not a fake, but this Oklahoma State defense, they played lights out in the 2nd half and have completely stripped the momentum away from the Iowa State defense, who had the upper hand in the 1st half.
Fair catch signal, and it's made by McCleskey at the 36. 7:42 to go in regulation. Tied at 31. Wazoo Stanford tonight, and after that it's Sports Center at night with Bucci and Anderson. All the highlights and full breakdowns of a big day in sports, big day in college football, Major League Baseball playoffs underway. And certainly they'll get ready for Sunday as well with another week of the NFL slate. 31 all, Pistol Pete. Iowa State led 31-14 in the 3rd quarter. And the Cowboys have scored 17 unanswered. Ball hits the ground, it's loose. And Oklahoma State able to cover it up. It's the center, Brad Lundblade. And a near disaster for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and the Cowboys didn't waste any time bringing in the veteran Sanders and taking Hill out of the ball game. Looked like there was some a problem with exchange there between the quarterback and obviously the running back. Now Sanders enters the ball game, the more mature running back.
Hill had a couple of costly fumbles in the Baylor loss. Over the middle, Lacey able to hold on at the 45. And he's got a first down for Oklahoma State.
Oh, this is just a fine play here. Strong hands, physical. Knew he was going to take a shot to the rib cage there, and it didn't bother him, as he knew he was at the right location, got to his mark to move the chains.
The junior industrial engineering and management major.
Impressive.
Jarwin on the drag route, hurdles a defender. And how about the old tight end to the 45 of Iowa State for 9?
Yeah, I like this kid. He was first-team all-conference tight end a season ago, but they play him. He lines up everywhere. The slot, outside, fullback, next to the quarterback. Nifty play there of getting over the defender. The perfect timing with the jump. Getting great yardage on first down.
A tornado of options now on 2nd and 1. Here's the blitz from Harvey. Sanders, a juke move. And the genetics gets him to the 41.
Yeah, he had a couple spin moves last week versus the University of Texas where he was bottled up and he'd get out with that sweet spin move. I'm sure he's had plenty of practice in his backyard with his dad going over that thing. That time there, a big conversion from the senior.
First and 10 at the 41. Play clock running down. Rennie Childs across the 40 to the 39 for 2. 2nd and 8.
And Oklahoma State opting to keep the freshman off of the field after that early fumble, and they bring in the I think that's the right move. You've got a young player that's growing and developing, and you also heard Don earlier today talk about them trying to take the load off of the freshman and not give him too much.
Flag down.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Justice Hill getting a talking to on the sideline. They like his upside, but he's had a few freshman moments, and you go back to the Baylor game, if he doesn't fumble inside of the 5-yard line, you couple that play with the call that should have been made at the end of Central Michigan, we might be talking about a 5-0 team. Flea flicker. Rudolph finds Jarwin. And Jarwin erased at the 35-yard line as we check in with Dawn.
Guys, Justice Hill doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon. He's talking to the trainers. I actually just spoke to the trainer. He said it's nothing major. He was grabbing that left arm. They were just checking him out.
All right. We'll keep a watch on that. It's 3rd and 5 now. Jeff Carr into the game at running back for Oklahoma State. James Washington lined up at the top of your screen. Here's Carr. First down and more. Accelerates upfield. Carr! Stepped out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
Outstanding block from the wide receiver, James Washington, which popped that play open on the outside, and Carr doing a great job of using his speed to get to the edge.
Rudolph to Washington, and Oklahoma State has come all the way back and taken the lead.
I don't know if I've ever seen a throw like that. It's like he just flicked it out there. It's like a hot potato in his hand. And James Washington with a big block the previous play comes back here. Look at the day this young man is having. It's just a fantastic athlete, one of the premier playmakers in all of the country. And Rudolph there looking for his guy inside of the red zone. And the Cowboys take the lead.
PAT good by Grogan, who is now 2 points away from the all-time scoring record in Stillwater.
Now watch this block here by Washington. Nice job of getting outside and watch him. He gets inside and controls the defender. Carr almost punched it in there, but they come back. That quick tempo. Look at how he threw that ball, Rudolph did. And it was actually in the perfect location. They call those paint balls. You throw them at the back of the defensive back's head, and it allows the wide receiver to adjust to the ball without him seeing it. Great execution on the part of the Cowboys.
You know, in sandlot football, you always had that one guy who was bigger than all the other kids.
Yeah.
And when in doubt, you just throw it up in his general direction. That's what it felt like.
I do know what you're talking about.
James Washington, best receiver on the field, and Rudolph has thrown 4 touchdowns in this game. 2 have gone to Washington, who now has 6 on the season. And you know, Oklahoma State has had a pretty good track record recently of wide receivers. Des Bryant and Justin Blackman, Bolitnikoff winners back-to-back. And Washington on pace for a monster season.
Yeah, and Rudolph, towards the beginning of the second half, we talked about he wasn't connecting right. Something's changed, and when you've got as much experience as Rudolph, and Gundy said it, our team goes as he goes. And you've seen in the second half, when his performance was elevated, this team started chipping away at the lead to the point now they have a 7-point lead. Rudolph has been the difference.
Iowa State will start at the 25. The numbers speak in the imperative, and so does his play. James Washington today.
Yeah, and they said he can do it all, and he's proven that today. Balance, control, speed, great hands, excellent moves. He's a gadget guy. You can run a reverse with him. And then to top it all off, the block that breaks open, the big run by Carr, and then go back to your guy, Washington, for 6.
His offensive coordinator, Mike Yursich, told us, yeah, he's only 6 feet, but he plays bigger.
Yeah.
Now it's on Iowa State. 2 timeouts, 3:40 to go in regulation, down a score. Lanning, run pass option. And he runs out of bounds. No gain as we check in with the studio.
Okay, Texas Tech and Kansas State just underway on ESPN News. You can also stream it on Watch ESPN. We'll take it on ESPNU at the conclusion. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Brendan.
And Iowa State has really struggled. Last 5 possessions, 3 punts, 1 fumble, an interception, and 26 total yards. The Pokes are really turning it up on defense.
And Lanning goes down at the 15. The 6th sack by this Cowboy defense.
Just a simple 4-man rush. They mixed it up, and Miley doing an excellent job of getting around the edge and just won his one-on-one matchup. And typically when you're playing great defense, that's what it takes.
3rd and 18. Lanning underneath. Not much there for Warren. He's to the 21. 4th and long. And Ahmad, you haven't been able to stop Oklahoma State's offense. Do you have to go for it?
Yeah, I think so. And it looks like they're leaving him out on the field. Pardon me. They've got their punting unit here. This is one of those calls with only 2 timeouts remaining. They had to call a 3rd timeout, their first timeout, because the play clock was running down. And now you put yourself in a really tough spot and hoping your defense can make something happen.
Sanders waiting at his own 39. Downing on to punt it away. And the play clock runs to 0. And Iowa State called a timeout, so now they've got one left. And is Matt Campbell rethinking his decision to punt?
He could be. But, I mean, when you've got these kind of numbers, his offensive production has not given him many options. 23 yards the last 6 drives. I mean, that is poor. And that is inept. And that is completely opposite of what we saw in the first half, where they were driving the ball up and down the field, mixing it up. I'm not so sure.
It comes down to this. Do you have more faith in your offense to convert 4th and 14, or do you have more faith in your defense to get a stop?
Based on this half, I think you're going to have to go back to your defense and just hope that they're playing well.
Even though Oklahoma State has scored 24 in a row.
Well, they've put their offense back out on the field, and so Matt Campbell, making a decision right now that certainly will change this ball game. If they get it, he's a genius. If they miss it, you'll look back to this play.
Well, if they miss it, it's probably the ball game. Iowa State 3 for 3 on 4th down this season. Against a 3-man rush. Lanning goes down, another sack. And the Cowboys take over on downs. Second sack of the game for Osborne.
This is not a call that I agree with. And partly because now you put them in field goal range. You make it a 2-possession game if they can get a chip shot here. Yeah, they may be trying to run out the clock, but even if your defense goes 3 and out, you're back in the same spot. And you've also wasted a timeout. I realize he's a young head coach, and I think when he looks back on this one, he may want it back again, because the offensive production has been meager since coming off to a great start.
I go back to what we've seen defensively, though. Oklahoma State has its offensive mojo back. If you punt it away and you only have the 1 timeout, you don't get a stop. You may never get the ball back. This might have been their best chance to extend the game.
A 4th and long?
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that.
Again, the options weren't great. We're not talking about chocolate and vanilla ice cream here.
4th and long, 4th and medium, 4th and 8 maybe, but you're behind the chains. That anywhere on the football field, that is difficult to convert.
I don't have as much of an issue with it, but agree to disagree. Rudolph will take a knee. And Oklahoma State will try to run out the clock. You've got to be careful here if you're Oklahoma State, because if you do have to kick, you don't want to be too far back.
Yeah.
Iowa State has called its final timeout. 1:42 to go. It was 31-14 Iowa State at one point, and the Cowboys have locked it down on defense since then. Their offense has scored 24 in a row, 7 sacks altogether, 3 takeaways.
Yeah, and they've dropped landmines all day today in the Cyclones' backfield. I mean, look at the pursuit here. What a heck of a play here by Taylor to miss the first time and chase him back down. This defensive line all the way across the front has been sensational when they needed them to be at their best. Whether it was producing sacks or stuffing the run, the Cowboys turned it on and have finished this ball game, it appears, for the Cowboys.
And boy, for Mike Gundy, you're looking at 4-2 if the Cowboys hold on here. 1:44 to go. 2nd and 17, and you can't quite run the clock out all the way. And so if you are faced with a 4th down, you know, there's a decision too, to punt, to take a field goal. They're going to add some time to the game clock. Meanwhile, for Iowa State, boy, this movie has been on repeat now for years, and there's a fan base wondering, when do they check out of the Heartbreak Hotel? It's been an extended stay.
Yeah, and the mindset of the players is what you start to question now. Can they recover? Being this close, having a win within their grasp against quality opponents and just letting it slip through their fingers. I mean, that's hard to watch. You see a dejected sideline there for the Cyclones. They had everything they needed to win this game. They came out, they were aggressive offensively. They were stingy defensively. And now you find yourself in a position down by 7 with the clock inching its way to the final seconds.
3rd and 22 here. And Rudolph takes another knee at the 36, so there's going to be some time left here. And Iowa State could get the ball back here one more time.
And if you're the Oklahoma State defense, we know what has happened at the end of ball games. Yeah, the play shouldn't have counted, but you gave up a touchdown in the closing seconds, which changed the course of a game. That is exactly what I'm thinking about on the sideline right now. If I'm one of those senior defensive backs or linebackers, I'm rallying up the troops saying, guys, this is our moment to close this game out and not let the same thing happen to us.
The Cowboys call a timeout. There's 20 seconds to go here in regulation. 4th and 26. Mike Gundy, what is the call here? Is it a punt? And if you're Iowa State, are you sending in the infantry for the punt block?
I say punt. The only reason being you still pick up some yardage here, and you force them to go 80 yards to beat you, and they've got to score. So me personally, I'm saying in this situation, you punt it with the hopes that you can pin them inside of their 10, but if it doesn't work, at least you still are making them drive the length of the field.
Of note here, Trevor Ryan, who's the top punt return man for Iowa State, left this game with an injury. He has not returned. He came into the game leading the FBS in punt return average. Alan Lazard has been fielding the punts. I would be shocked, though, if Siner gets the punt off, if it's even returnable. 20 seconds to go, 4th and 26, and still a glimmer of hope for Iowa State. Cyclones led 31-14 with 5:55 left in the 3rd quarter. All Cowboys since.
Yeah, they've been outscored 24-0 since that time. And you got to give the Oklahoma State Cowboys credit for the way that they fought here today. And they could have hung their heads and said the game was over and things weren't going their way, but they found a way to make it happen and to make those plays. And that is the difference in this ball game right now.
Everybody on the line of scrimmage for Iowa State. Lazard back at the 10. Siner punts it away. Fair catch signal. It's made at the 10. 14 seconds left for Iowa State. 90 yards to go. You bring out the annexation of Puerto Rico right here.
Oh, man. These are those moments as a player. Your heart's just beating out of your chest. You know that something special could happen here, but you also know the chances of something special happening here.
I think Oklahoma State has been reminded many times that indeed something special can happen in these situations. What's the play call?
Well, I mean, you got to go to your vertical game. More than likely, they'll have 3 on one side, 1 man on another side. You'll try to get a crosser, maybe something close to the out-of-bounds line. You've got 14 seconds. Try to inch your way a little bit closer. There are not a lot of options here, and they've decided to go 2 by 2.
Everybody except the 3 down linemen back deep for Oklahoma State. Here's Lazard. He'll lateral to Epps. Across the 25, he'll lateral it back to Lanning. Back to Lazard. It's out of bounds with 2 seconds left.
Lazard took a shot.
He did. Now, were you surprised with time there? Lazard did not just make a beeline for the sideline?
That's hard. Oh, my goodness. That area you talk about wind being knocked out and rib cages. Neither one of those are good.
The penalty includes a 10-second runoff. The game is over.
Now the game is over. So the ball on that backward lateral out of bounds. Oklahoma State with the 10-second runoff. And that's how it ends. Lazard is still down on the field. It was ruled an illegal forward pass, and because that's a play that stops the clock, Oklahoma State gets the 10-second runoff.
Yeah, and kudos to this Oklahoma State defense. You know, this is the fourth opponent that Oklahoma State has held scoreless in the fourth quarter this season. They've really turned it on in the closing moments of ball games, and that's something that will bode well for them down the road, especially in conference play with these high-powered offenses.
This was a hard-fought win for Oklahoma State. Iowa State led this game by 17 late in the third quarter, but Mike Gundy's team showing resolve and the ability to come back. They score the final 24 points to win it 38-31. Players are still out on the field. Nobody has gone to the sideline yet. They're going to review the last play. So you can review a forward or backwards pass. If it's ruled a forward pass, it's only reviewable if the ball goes out of bounds or if there's a clear recovery in the aftermath, and this meets those stipulations. So take another look. There's Lanning. There's Lazard. Is it a forward pass? That's close. And again, you need indisputable video evidence.
I don't think you have it
to
there,
overturn the call. I don't think you have it either. And with less than 1 minute left in the half, if either team commits a foul that causes the clock to stop, the offended team can choose a 10-second runoff, and an incomplete illegal forward pass, which this would be if the play stands.
After reviewing the play, the pass by number 7 was backwards.
Oh.
It went out of bounds with 2 seconds remaining on the clock. The ball will be placed at the 20.5-yard line, and it's first 10.
All right, so they thought there was indisputable video evidence that showed that the ball went backwards, and we're not going to Manhattan, Kansas just yet. One more play, 2 seconds to go.
We've seen this before.
Now you've got officials still huddling. Clock will start on the snap. The Cowboys with 3 DBs all the way back at the 30-yard line. They've got 5 more in a 10-yard radius around midfield and 3 down linemen.
Yeah, this is your
3 deep
defense.
3 very deep.
No doubt.
And I'd expect something similar to what we saw. A hook and lateral, and then some. That ball is tipped. It's caught by one of the linemen, and the ball game is over. So against a 3-man rush, Traylon Weber knocked the ball into the air. It was caught by Shetta, and the game is over. More heartbreak for Iowa State. That's 2 weeks in a row. Oklahoma State survives in a close one here in Stillwater. 38-31 your final. Now off we go to the Little Apple, Texas Tech and K-State.
Win for Oklahoma.